So before we move on to round two, which is our head-to-head discussion, I want to talk about my honorable mentions. And when I say honorable mentions, I mean the shows and the towns that should have been included in this discussion. I'm just trying to cut you off at the comments before you come for it. Okay, I watch a lot of TV. We're going to start first with kind of the OG small town in TV, which of course was Mayberry for the Andy Griffith show. They had everything that you want and everything you don't realize that you need in a small town in television. I'm also want to throw out to probably the one that most people expected to be in this episode, which is Stars Hollow from Gilmore Girls. They've got the townies, they've got the festivals, they've got the iconic locations, and it's everything that you want in a small town in your TV. I'm also going to shout out Tree Hill from One Tree Hill, because that's my favorite. Neptune, California from Veronica Mars, so that always felt much bigger than just a small town. And of course, Point Place from that 70s show. But most of all, I want to tell you my number one favorite small town for television, the thing that I would have used if I were actually a part of the debate, which is Bluebell, Alabama from Heart of Dixie. It was a CW show. You can watch it on Netflix. It's one of my favorites. Everybody's really good looking. It's very funny. And it's got everything that you could want. And it was also, I think, shot in the same lot as Stars Hollow. So it's basically the same place. Okay, those are my honorable mentions. And if any of these people had said Bluebell, they would have won just by default. But they didn't. So we're going to have to move on to round two, aren't we? Okay, first up for round two is head-to-head. We're pairing them off. I'm going to ask a question, and then they're going to go back and forth answering my question, and maybe wherever else the discussion takes them. So first up is going to be Derek and Kevin versus each other. Now, the reason I chose the two of you together is for a very simple reason. Both of your shows feature a central hero that solves the problems, right? They have help, they have the Scooby Gang, they have the rest of the people at Global Dynamic, but when it comes down to it, it's about Buffy and Sheriff Carter. Here's my basic question. Does your town deserve the hero that they got?
Ooh. I would say yes. So this town is surrounded by the most intelligent people. And one of my favorite things is if you look at NASA, they use a lot of children's like science fairs as ways to kind of get them to step back and see problems in it, like a child's eyes. And Sheriff Jack Carter, who is the Target brand micro, he is that child because he's not that smart guy that comes in. He comes in with very practical, sometimes made fun of decisions or ideas on how to solve a problem, which allows them to take a step back from like, oh, science to, oh yeah, I forgot sticks exist.
Okay, Kevin?
I would say yes, Sunnydale does deserve Buffy Summers, although it takes a while for the town to realize that. A good example is in season 3, episode 9, the character of Cordelia wishes that Buffy never came to Sunnydale. And the whole episode imagines what that alternate reality would look like. And well, it's pure hell. Everyone's a vampire, everything's chaos, and the perfect little low property value Sunnydale is have even lower property values.
Excellent. Okay. So Kevin mentioned that Buffy was important in that moment in time. It does make me wonder if there was a different Slayer there, sent there first, would that have helped at all, or did it need to be Buffy?
It needed to be Buffy, because as we see in the series, there are other Slayers that come along in this journey. One of them in particular comes to Sunnydale expecting to be the Slayer, even though Buffy is still alive. And we find that their personality types are very different from each other, and that this alternate Slayer, in the long end, chooses to align herself with the evil mayor, as I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And so that just gives a good example of why Buffy has the character and the disposition to align herself with the right people to always stand up for the greater good.
Derek, I'm going to ask you kind of the same question. At some point during Eureka, we see what it looks like with a different sheriff, with a robotic sheriff. Would that have worked from day one, or did it need Jack Carter?
It needed Jack Carter. If we're going to start citing episodes, season 3, episode 1, Bad to the Drone, the Department of Defense comes in to look at demonetizing Eureka and potentially putting a hotel in. Now, it showed, as they're looking into the budgets of everything, how many incidents had occurred ever since Budget Mike Rowe comes into the town, and the incidents had gone up significantly at that point. Now, people who use correlation as causation say, oh, he was the problem. But I feel like all of that was something that came through because of all of the new happenings in the town, not because he was there, but he was needed at that moment, because if they specifically just use a robotic sheriff from the start, they would fall into that trap of having something that's specifically scientifically based and not having that human element.
Good points, both of you. I hope the audience is listening and paying attention, and if nothing else, have found 2 new shows to check out. One of which you can watch all of Buffy on Hulu, and you can watch all of Eureka on Prime, I think. Now, you may have noticed I had a really good question for them. I don't have one for you guys. No. So we've got Hawkins, we've got Schitt's Creek. I kind of asked this in the last one a little bit. I asked if they deserve their hero, and this time I want to know, could this story have taken place in any other town?
I will hop on that, and I think that the answer is a very firm no. Of course, the Rose family, who is used to a very luxurious yet shallow lifestyle, could only learn the true lessons and meanings of what is really of value and of what's really important by coming to a place that would shake them so to their core, as Schitt's Creek.
Okay, thank you. Dorian?
I would also agree. No, this show could not take place in any other town. Being that, like, the whole concept behind the idea of Stranger Things is set in the nostalgia and the love of small town 80s America, right? And in season 3, episode 2, which is called Mallrats, we get to see what the epitome of a small town mall would have felt like. And so, yeah, this show can only take place in a small town like Hawkins.
With a mall?
With a small mall, very small mall, and a movie theater and an arcade and all the other things that I have previously mentioned.
Well, I would also add that Schitt's Creek not only doesn't have a mall, it doesn't have a movie theater, and basically only one store.
Yes, it's very possible that Schitt's Creek is the smallest of our small towns, but that doesn't make it the best, unfortunately, right?
Correct.
That's up to the audience.
I mean, Moira had 2 trees put in, 2 boxwood trees. If that doesn't make it a great small town, I don't know what does.
All right, so both of these shows are are about a small specific group of people, right? So does that group of people, they become stronger throughout both shows, right? One of them has not finished yet. We haven't finished Stranger Things yet, but they're getting closer? Are they getting further apart because they're growing up? And this is also a family that are designed to grow apart at some point, right?
Yes.
So is the town helping their development or hurting it?
Well, I think Hawkins is definitely on the other end of the spectrum. Schitt's Creek, of course, is helping the Rose family. Of course, Johnny Rose learns to go back to what's important about business, which is all of the integrity and the meaning of taking care of people and offering service and having a partner who's not just somebody who provides you with capital, but somebody who provides you with the meaning of a hard day's work. Of course, David finds not only true love, but he finds that you can live a happy life when you're surrounded by the things that make you happy, whether or not they're the things that make you fancy. Of course, Alexis learns.
Through all of them.
I can. I can.
Then I have to give Dorian time to go through the 17 children on it.
Can I not do the little bit Alexis dance?
Alexis.
Dorian, same question.
Same question. Look, I'm going to say that the town both helps and hurts them, right? Which is the concept behind what's needed in the show. They need something to overcome, and then they need people to help them overcome those things. So it's hurt by the fact that the government is doing weird experiments under their town. It's also hurt by the fact that for some reason, under their town is a series of caves that we don't know the purpose of yet. It also is probably a little bit hurt by the idea that we would just let children roam randomly in the 80s for no reason and didn't worry about them for many hours till we saw them again. But where it is helped by is by the support structure of the people that are in the town, from the sheriff to their science teacher to the guy who owns the grocery store and gives the mom a credit on her advance on her rent. Those people are all there to help support the main cast as they grow together and learn and grow apart as they age.
All right, let's bring everybody back. So those were our two rounds. You guys have introduced your towns. You have defended your towns. I'm going to give you one last chance to say what you want to say for the viewers to vote on which of your towns are the best. We all know that the best is Bluebell, Alabama, but what would be the second best?
Ladies and
Dorian.
gentlemen, we've mentioned heroes. Derek's show had a hero. Kevin's show had a hero, but we have not talked about the hero of my show, which is 11. She is the meanest, baddest, most bestest hero of the entire show, and she could beat up all your other heroes. The end.
That's not the point of this discussion, but I appreciate it. Who's next?
I'll go. Now, Eureka really shows not only what a utopia would be like, but it really shows the importance of family and how a single micro-looking dad can raise a daughter that's aging and going through those challenges, but then also what a community can do to take the girl who's normally a screw up and doing horrible in classes and allowing her to have the challenge and support system of a town that really cares about its citizens. So it's really just a beautiful place for family, for love, for friendship, and for science.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you. Kevin?
There's a lot of things I could say about why Sunnydale is great. We have a magic shop owned by a British man. We have more cemeteries than restaurants. We have a secret portal underneath the high school that takes you from one reality to the next. But what I love most of all about Sunnydale is its rich appreciation of culture. And what I mean by that is, one day you may wake up and suddenly be stuck in a musical, break out in song, everyone is perfectly choreographed in number and in step. And then the next day, it may all go away. And I think that type of unexpected richness is what keeps Sunnydale relevant and special. Thank you.
Chrissy, wrap us up.
Well, I am positively bedeviled by wonderful things I could say about Schitt's Creek, but I think the bottom line is that when one of us shines, all of us shine.
Thank you. That was wonderful. And thank you all so much for joining us today. Make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. Make sure that you follow the link in our description to vote for who won this debate. And hit the comments up. Let us know what we should be talking about next. We want to hear from you. Thank you.